Tackle Junkies, what's going on, fellas? You guys can see we got some new gear from Okuma for 2018 season. We also got some different bags and some reels I'm going to show you guys as well. I'll get one thing straight right off the bat. This video is not to say, hey, look what I got. You guys asked for these type of videos. You guys seen the picture I put up on Facebook and Instagram. Messages, comments, everyone saying, hey, let's see what's in the box.
Oh, you with the box. What was in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
So that's why I'm making this video, more or less just to show you what exactly it is that I'm using and why I picked certain rods. I'm going to let you guys know which rods I picked out. And, if you're looking for a new rod, the reason that I give you may be the reason you want to pull the trigger on one of these rods or a rod of this power and action. A lot of you guys always say, why Okuma? You use Dobyns, you had Diawa and all that. The action of these rods is what sold me on these rods. The TCS lineup have more of a moderate action to it. The EVX lineup has more of a faster action to it. The last few years using these rods, I put more fish in the boat with that softer action, and that's why I'm with Okuma. I just like the action of the rods. They just work for me. It's plain and simple. So you guys always ask what sleeves I use. I use the rod gloves. Awesome rod covers, guys. Protect your rods, protect your guides. And, I've used a few different ones. Those are the ones that I like the best, so that's the ones I'm sticking with. First off, I've got a couple spinning. This one here is the TCS. This is the TCS, the Wacky Worm skipping rod. And I mainly got this just for skipping docks. So which I don't do a whole lot of that, but I got a rod now just for skipping docks. It is, let's see here, a 6'9" medium plus. Line is 8 to 15 pounds, and lure weight is 1/4 to 5/8. So that's what we're going to try and skip docks with this season. Another spinning rod here. This one here is the Drop Shot Finesse. It's a 7-footer. I'm going to say it was 3 years ago I reviewed the 7'2". Same rod, just 2 inches longer. I went with the 7-foot this season, so we got a 7-foot Drop Shot Finesse rod. I'll probably run either 6 or 8 pound fluorocarbon on that rod. I like straight fluoro. I don't care for braid to fluoro. I don't like the extra connection knot. That will probably strictly be a Drop Shot Ned Rig rod is what I'm going to put or run on that rod there. Next, we got a couple Martin APC. That's the 6'9". It's a medium heavy, but what I really like about this rod, okay, it's got a moderate action to it. And now when I say moderate, I don't mean it's really slow like a crankbait rod. It's still stiffer, not as stiff as a fast, but not as slow as a cranking rod. But what I really like about this rod, for one, it's 6'9". It's a shorter rod. I'm really accurate with it. You can do little underarm, roll cast and things like that with it. But what I like about it the most is it loads in 1/8. So that video I did a while back on, I think it was how many fish I can catch in an hour or something like that. I was throwing like a little 1/8 ounce weighted swim bait head and a little bitty swim bait. I'll link that video down below, but I was able to launch that rig because of this rod. Like I said, I was even using, I think, 12-pound test in that video, so a heavier pound test line for a lighter weight. But with this rod loading at 1/8, I was able to launch that little bait. So killer spinnerbait rod, underspins, flukes, things like that. And guys, I'll link all my rod and reel arsenal videos down below as well, so you can watch those videos and see everything that I throw on these rods. I don't want to make this video too long. But if I had to pick one technique for this rod, I'm going to go spinnerbait. I love throwing a spinnerbait or a chatterbait on it. Again, I love throwing many different things on this rig though. But if I'm going lightweight lures and I want to use a bait caster, this is the rod I pick right here. Guys, I've used many different cranking rods. I love throwing a squirter bill. I've used all the Bass Pro rods, Shimano's, 13 Fishing, Dobyns. I've used a bunch of different ones. This one right here, TCS crankbait jerkbait rod, 7-footer. As of right now, it's my favorite. And guys, I don't like to say best at all because I haven't used everything out there, far from it. But I'm just going off of what I have used. It's my favorite so far. 7-foot crankbait jerkbait rod. It's a medium plus. It's got a moderate fast action to it, so it's got a nice slow tip on it. Loads at 3/8 to 3/4. 7-foot medium plus. So not quite a medium heavy, right there in the middle. Killer cranking rod right here, guys. Then we've got a couple jig worm rods. 7-footer, that's a heavy, moderate action. That rod there, Man, I like using that rod for a lot of different things. If I had to pick one thing, though, on that rod, I'm going to have to go with a buzzbait. Buzzbait or a swim jig. It's a toss-up. You know, I like throwing a 50-pound braid on these rods, even straight fluoro. Buzzbait or swim jig would be my favorite technique for these rods. Next up, we have the Frog swim bait. This is the one Okuma rod that I reviewed last year. I'll go ahead and link that video down below or pop it up on the screen. I told you guys I'd be getting more of this rod. This rod here, man, all last season I used it just for pitching, but towards the end of the season I started using it for swim baits, and without a doubt, it is a killer swim bait rod. But like I stated in that review, don't let the branding fool you. It says Frog swim bait, killer spinner bait, swim jig rod, love it for swim baits. Like I said, pitching, dragging a worm. I mean, a ton of different techniques you can use this rod for. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with throwing a Kitech, like 4.8. Weighted beast hook. That rod, killer combo. Picked up one of these at the end of last season. This is the 7.6 flipping jig rod. I got a couple more here. I really like that rod. I was using it for swim jigs and spinner baits. But overall, it's a killer pitching rod. Really lightweight. It's got that pitching guide on here, if you guys can see that. I say pitching guide, it's actually a flipping guide. Right here towards the reel, so if you're going to flip with it, you can grab the line here, and as you release it, it just keeps the line out of the handle of your reel. So that's like a little signature series guide that's got one on this rod. I believe it's on the Matt Daddy as well. But like I said earlier, I was using that 7.3 Frog swim bait rod for pitching, but after using this rod at the end of last season, I really like it as a pitching rod. Normally I like the shorter rods, so I'm more accurate. But this rod here is really lightweight, really comfortable. It feels like a medium heavy, even though it's a heavy. Killer pitching rod for me. So I'll still probably use the Frog swim bait rod in tighter spots. But overall, this will be my main pitching rod. 8-1 reel, 50-pound braid. Then next up we have the EVX series. Let's see here. This one here, not sure what it is. This could be 7.2 medium heavy. Okay, these next three are all the same. It's your medium heavy rod, fast action. Now this rod here, and I say this in a video as well, which I'll link down below. This rod here is actually rated. And someone said on Facebook or Instagram the other day that the medium heavy is actually like a frog, or I forget what they said. I think on the website, the labeling is reversed. This is actually, like I said in that video, this is a Skip and Dock swim jig chatterbait rod. It's a medium heavy fast, but for me, it's a killer Texas rig rod. Probably the rod that I used the most last season was this one right here. 7'2", medium heavy. Normally I go with a 7-footer, but in this particular model they didn't have a 7-footer, so I went 7.2. Love it. You can bomb a cast out there. Like I said, just a standard medium heavy fast action rod. If you're going to pick one, which I feel is the most versatile, and it really depends again what you're doing. If you're going to be pitching thick mats and things like that, this rod's not for you, but it's a good overall rod for light cover, pitching, you know, light stuff, isolated stumps, laydowns, things like that. Like I said, Texas rigs, spinner baits. It's a little stiff to crank with, but if you only can get a rod or two, you know, you can still get away with it with this rod. I'd recommend mono, so you got a little bit of stretch. Loosen the drag up a little bit, and you can get away with cranking with this rod. But just a good multi-purpose rod, medium heavy, fast action. It's tough to beat. I got a few of these here. This is the rod that my wife uses a lot, my boys, so I picked up a few more of those for that reason. These are, let's see here, a couple cranking rods in the EVX series. One is a medium heavy, and one is a medium. This is the medium heavy, and one is a medium. Medium heavy here loads at 1/4. And like I said, I like the TCS cranking rod the most, but this one loads at 3/8. So if I'm going to throw lighter cranks, I go to this rod here. But if I'm going to go even lighter than that, I believe this one loads at 1/8. Yeah, so if I'm going to throw a little shad wrap, something that's really light or hard to throw, something really light, I'll use these two rods here, as one loads at 1/8, one loads at 1/4. And the actual TCS cranking rod loads at 3/8, so you need a little more weight to be able to get a good cast with those. So lighter cranks, I go with the EVX series here. The last couple we got here, one is a 6/8 medium heavy, which this is rated here, spinnerbait rod. You use it all season for spinnerbaits, shallow crank and things like that. Awesome rod here. And this one here is a 6/8 as well. It's a medium, and this actually labeled a top water jerkbait rod. And that's what I'm going to use it for, just because, again, in the TCS series, their jerk crank rod, the 6.6 that I like for jerkbaits and topwaters, it loads at 3/8. So for those lighter topwaters and things like that, I wanted this rod here because it loads at 1/8. The other one loads at 3/8. So my lighter stuff will go on this rod right here. Little small jerkbaits, little small poppers, things like that. I'll need this rod here to be able to toss those. Especially if you want to use a little heavier line. You got to have a soft enough rod to get them out there. So, guys, that's the rods here. Let me go ahead and swing the camera around here. I'll show you guys the reels and the other bags I picked up. All right, for reels, we have the Helios TCS. We have 6 and 6.6. We have 3 and 7.3 and 1 and 8.1. We also got a couple spinning reels here, which I'll go over here in a second. I get asked a lot, what's the most versatile gear ratio? You know, there's so many different opinions on that. I believe it has a lot to do with how you fish, if you're able to control your speed and slow yourself down. Me personally, it's 6-speed, hands down. But I know majority of the guys out here, and Ray, I'm going to mention you, I know you like those really high-speed reels, and that's great. If you can teach yourself, or, you know, to slow yourself down, that's great. I can never do that. You know, if I had a 7 or 8-speed reel on all my reels and I'm trying to crank or something, man, and especially with the water clarity that I fish, being so dirty, that crankbait be going so fast by the fish, I never get bit. I have a hard time slowing down. I use the reels to slow me down. And two, I never really liked baits that have a lot of drag, big spinner baits, big crankbaits. I never liked a higher gear ratio reel because I feel you have, you know, it just puts more stress on the reel and you feel it. You know, you're really, it's really working you. You know, you want the reel to work for you and you just feel like you're doing the work with a higher gear ratio reel. It could be all the reels that I've used. Maybe really, really expensive reels don't do that. All the ones that I've used, I just feel like I'm doing the work and not the reel. So, you know, when I'm doing anything that has a lot of drag, you know, techniques as far as big spinner baits, cranking, things like that, I like a lower gear ratio reel. But overall, if I could just pick one, it's going to be a 6-speed just because for me and how I fish, it's the most versatile. I do a lot of reaction baits. Even just, you know, pitching a tube and popping it along and all that, and even that, I just feel I overwork it with higher gear ratio reels. Typically, my rule of thumb, if I'm using the rod to work the bait, I use a higher gear ratio reel like a 7-speed. I like an 8 when I'm strictly just pitching and flipping, and I like a 6-speed for pretty much everything else. A lot of deeper cranking or big spinner baits, I'll go to a 5-speed, but majority of the time, it's a 6-speed. These here, I think these just came out last year, I believe. Helios SX, the SX30. So these are my spinning reels I got here. I got a couple of the Inspiras, and then I got a couple of these, the Inspiras I used last year. This is a slick looking reel right here, guys. Won't take her all the way out, or open her up. You just see it like that. Good looking reel though. Last year I had the Inspiras. I had those on the my spinner rods, the EVX spinner rods, but these are going to match the EVX much better. So I'm going to actually put these on the EVX and then my Inspiras put on the TCS because they're black and blue. They match. I got a few reel bags. We got 1, 2, 3 of them. I actually got a couple other ones there. That's what all my Diawa reels are sitting in. But the reason I picked up 3 more, one, just for extra reels on the boat, but 2, I think these would make a great like camera bag or possibly a bag for like a fish finder. You got a pocket here in the front to put whatever. I mean, you could even use this like a tackle box, something like that if you wanted to. But then it's got, you know, Velcro here on the sides, plus the zipper. You'll see here. It's got actually a pocket up here as well for whatever. And then we got 8 compartments here, all Velcro. You can move them around. You can even take out the centerpiece as well. So you can have one empty spot here if you wanted to throw your fish finder in there, something like that. I was thinking about getting some of that break apart foam or whatever that is, put that in here. And possibly fish finders in here, maybe a camera bag. Not for sure. Like I said, I'm going to use one more for reels. And the other 2, I'm just going to play around with, see what works best. But these are really cool. This is the small. They have 3 different sizes. It's got a shoulder strap here. Like I said, this one here is a small. I believe these retail for 40 bucks. So not a bad price for a, I mean, it looks like a well-made bag. Like I said, I've had those bags there for a couple seasons, and they work well. So pretty cool. And then last thing, Actually, two more things. Put this down over here. This here, this is pretty cool. This is like a big duffel bag. I got this just for like rain gear, or if I'm going to the ponds, I just want to throw just a bunch of crap in there. I picked up this. It's the Nomad. I said this is a big duffel bag. A couple pockets here in front, and then you just got one big pocket there in the center. It's got storage all along the inside there. Zipper storage, and then just some loose pockets there. But, you know, so I'll probably use this for rain gear, and then maybe when I go to the ponds to throw a bunch of stuff in there, may do that as well. And last up, I got this one here, more on the smaller side, in case I don't want to take the big bag there. This one here is 3600 series size. That one there holds 3700 series. This one here holds a 36. I believe there's 4 of them in there. It comes with the boxes. We got storage here, so it comes with 4 boxes here, and then we got storage on the side, storage on the front, the other side, got the shoulder strap, storage here on the back. Be a great little pond bag right here, guys. I'll link some of this stuff down below, you guys can check it out, but if I don't want to take the real big bag, I'll just take this one right here. But I like that one there, so, you know, it holds a few 3700 series boxes, so, you know, I can just take those boxes out of my boat, throw them in there. But this one here, I was thinking about actually making a pond box and then just leaving the stuff in here. Don't constantly swap tackle from my boat to the bag. You know, actually make these boxes just for pond stuff. You know, I have some extra lures I can throw in here, stuff that I would take to the ponds that I don't have to keep taking out and put in my boat. You know, stuff that I have doubles of, things like that. If you guys like to see a video on that, leave that down below. Maybe I'll do a video on my pond box and stuff that I'm always going to keep in here that always catches fish at the ponds that I go to. But guys, that's everything that Okuma sent me for this season. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, this was not a video to show you guys, you know, look what I got, blah, blah, blah. This is just showing you guys different things that have come out that you may not have heard of, why I like certain things, gear ratios and all that. I mean, I try to do a little teaching in every video. Hopefully that's what you guys took from this. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Thumbs up, really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.